Well, the referee gets us back underway in the closing stages, but that will be that. And what a roar in the Brandywell. It's the team in red and white that deliver tonight and march up the table. A tense game we've witnessed. One goal, the match winner, Danny Mullen. But Derry are starting to believe early on in this League of Ireland season. It's finished at the Ryan McBride Brandywell. It's Derry City 1, St Patrick's Athletic 0.
Yeah, that just about put the tin hat on a bad evening for St Pat's, embroiled in shenanigans with the crowd at the Brandywell there. Their assistant manager, Sean O'Connor, given a red card, another red card brandished at the Pats bench. They will pick the bones over that. Stephen Kenny's interview will be interesting, you'd imagine. But tonight is all about Derry City. Indeed, this weekend is Derry City's, because they have put together two big back-to-back wins over two of the big Dublin sides. Shells on Friday night beaten at the Brandywell. St Pat's this evening. That is 5 wins in 7 for Derry. They are a point off the top. They have definitely come to the party in this League of Ireland Premier Division season. It wasn't the prettiest game. Derry won't be bothered with that at all. Danny Mullen's goal just after half-time has given them the 3 points. We'll have analysis and reaction from Ian and Keith after this. Now, we are in Tala next Friday in the Premier Division. Shamrock Rovers taking on Drogheda United. That is a top 2 battle now, I can tell you. Drogheda leaders, Rovers winning this evening as well. So we'll have that for you on Friday. Then Dublin Derby the following week as Bows take on Shells. And the Monday after that, we're with Shelbourne again as they take on Drogheda United. But back to tonight. And what a valuable 3 points for Derry City. One of the reasons was the performance of Adam O'Reilly, former Pats player. Of course, he was chosen as the SSE Airtricity Player of the Match, and he's with Stuart McAvoy.
Congratulations, Adam. Danny McCarthy will present you with the SSE Airtricity Player of the Match.
Cheers.
What a performance. How much do you enjoy it out there?
Too much. I think results like that where you have to kind of grind it out, that are kind of more enjoyable ones. My voice has kind of gone out at the moment, just because I think that right now at the moment for the team ourselves, I think we're starting to gel a lot more, and I think people are starting to see it. And I think wins like that just bring us even more together.
It got fairly heated out there. What's it like to play in?
Do you know what? I think it brings a bit more into the game itself. Like, I think everyone here is very passionate, as well as St Pat's. So I think the passion just took over there. And look, I think as players, it does kind of drive you on at the same time as well for each team. So look, that's kind of the way I see it.
Look, that's a couple of good wins in a row. I know you lost in Waterford, but apart from that, here, are you starting to try and make this a bit of a fortress, a very hard place to come?
Yeah, 100%. Look, that's what the gaffer actually said to us as well. Look, this is our home, we want to call it. So look, we want teams to come here and fear us. And look, I think there are 2 massive results that we've just done there now, and I think, look, we're kind of sending a statement out in the league that, look, we are a very, very good team, and that's what we wanted to do.
What about Tiernan, the coach, the gaffer, as you say, his message as the weeks goes on is becoming more clear? How good is it to work with him? Yeah,
geez, look, the night that he came in, look, he's really driving us and the boys on. Like, the first thing he said when he came in was that he wants intensity, and that's one of the reasons that I stayed as well, is the intensity that I wanted. And look, I think from the very start, look, he's been pushing us as best he can, and I think the results are starting to kind of show now. And look, that's fair play to him, because look, we're a hard bunch to work with as well. So look, now it looks just delighted.
What about yourself? You seem to be loving your football out there. You never stop.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but somehow I just keep running. But no, look, I'm really enjoying it at the moment. I think I play my best football when I am enjoying it. And look, I think I just got to keep that going.
And finally, early days of the season, but does this team start to believe? Does it start to dream?
There's always been a belief there. There's never not been belief. As soon as all the boys came through the door and that, and look, we obviously have new players and things, but look, the belief is there from absolutely everyone, especially in the city as well. We just need everyone else to drive us on now, and hopefully we can pick up more points along the road.
Super stuff. Well done, Adam.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, Adam O'Reilly doing the business for Derry against Pats this evening, really driving his side on. He was involved in everything destructive and creative with that assist for Mullen's goal. He was everywhere tonight, right from early on, Ian, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was brilliant tonight. It was one of the easiest man of the match decisions I think we could have given, and he just done every piece of the game. Lovely ball, plays forward, rattles it in. A little bit scrappy here, but Mullen gets a shot off, doesn't really come to anything. But how good he was in terms of getting round, getting up the pitch when he needed to, getting his shots away, just really being a nuisance, and he continued that all through the game. But as a midfielder, what do you need to do? You need to cover the middle of the park. You need to win the ball back. You need to retain possession, and you need to get back in your position. And that's what he was so good at tonight. Again, needs to come out. Big tackle, makes his presence known, and you've seen that time and time again. Needs to recover, gets himself across, full of energy. What does he do? Keep him facing his own goal. Lovely little, great little footwork to keep him that way. And again, he mentioned intensity in his interview. That's what he brings energy, brings passion, brings desire. And when you're playing against someone like that on the pitch, it drives you as well. Again, late in the game, he's bursting forward. Maybe the angle was too tight for him on the left foot, but he was absolutely fantastic. He just got round, and here we go. Coming to the end of the game, his team 1-0 up, Pat's getting forward, big tackle, and that got the crowd off their feet, really lifted everyone. He was absolutely sensational tonight, and he's going to be huge for them as they go on. You talked there about the team starting to gel. They've got Cameron Dummigan, they've got Diallo, they've got players starting to come back. They'll hope now that that's them kicking on, and can they start trying to go after the top two?
Really interesting interview as well, Keith, from, wasn't it? He gave us a lot in that, as Ian said, talking about the intensity Lynch wants, talking about starting to gel as a team, talking about the bodies coming in the door, and what that has meant is competition for places. We're going to see Danny Mullen score a goal. Of course, he was out the last day, Liam Boyce scored, so he comes in today, has the telling impact. So suddenly in that dressing room, is there a huge amount of competition and lads bursting to get into this team now for Derry?
Yeah, that's exactly what Tiernan Lynch will want. It seems like he's got Derry moving in the right direction, and look, the intensity in the middle of the pitch, as Adam O'Reilly said, it's a brilliant word to use, because you look at the Pats midfield and you think, what's missing out of that Pats midfield? And I think intensity was the right word. Adam O'Reilly was absolutely all over the place. I know what Adam O'Reilly can bring. I've seen an awful lot of him at Pats. He's a workhorse, gets around the pitch, but that little pass in behind is the little bit of a bonus that he's starting to bring to his game. So covers the ground wonderfully well.
How good is that pass?
It's awful. It's an awful pass.
Sorry, the pass from O'Reilly.
Sorry, I thought you meant from Grogowski. It's a lovely pass in behind from O'Reilly, but the pass in from Grogowski, it's never there. Even if O'Reilly doesn't pick it up, there's another Derry player about to mop it up. So Pat's their own worst enemy again.
We're going to see a penalty claim that they had. The reaction from the Pats sideline, certainly they felt it was a penalty. I think maybe when they look at the replays, they may change their mind. But it was Chris Forrester involved. And Pats seemed to end the game with a stronger team, perhaps, than they started with. Obviously, Stephen Kenny felt he needed to rest players, avoid risk of injury, maybe with the pitch at the Brandywell. Will that be a source of regret from Kenny's point of view after the result?
Look, you look at Chris, and his age will come into that in terms of playing back-to-back games, Friday, Monday. In terms of a penalty, no, I don't think so. Duffy turns his back here, his feet are planted, but Chris Forrester sees that he's done there. He leaves his leg, and he leaves it there for the extra second to make sure he gets contact. I wouldn't be happy if that was given against me.
What about Pats in general this evening?
I don't think they were a real threat. I think Derry were quite comfortable for most of the game there. Yeah, they had a spell. I think when Keena came on, I thought Keena actually looked a step above most players on the pitch tonight. I thought his touch, how he moved, his passing, how he drove the tempo a little bit for Pats.
Why didn't he start then?
You'll have to ask Stephen that.
Yeah.
He's only back from injury. Yeah. I think the Astro will come into that. I think when you're just coming back from injury, you're trying to find your feet again. I've never heard a professional player saying he liked playing on an Astro. It hurts the joints and the body an awful lot more.
Maybe if that game is towards the end of the season, they take a risk on it. Is that
possibly.
Maybe. We will hear from Stephen Kenny, we hope, before the end of the show. But we're going to take a quick break now. When we come back, we will have, as usual, our roundup from around the grounds from earlier on today, all those Premier Division goals on the way after this. Just a reminder then, we're in Tala next Friday in the Premier Division. Shamrock Rovers are taking on Drogheda United, and then it's Bowes Shelbourne the following Friday, and Shelbourne Drogheda the Monday after that. So lots to look forward to. Let's get back, lots to catch up on this evening, because it's been another dramatic day in the League of Ireland Premier Division. I'm going to start with the clash of Drogheda United and Cork City, and this was second against second bottom coming into today's games, and it was Cork who took the lead early on. It was their new signing, their stopgap striker, Janeiro Daniels, who was first to pounce to put his side a goal in front in the 7th minute. Shane Farrell then levelled it up 5 minutes before the break for Drogheda. His deflected free kick catching out Tiernan Lynch in goal. And then Drogheda, who let a 2-goal lead slip, remember, on Friday night against Sligo. They took the lead in the 62nd minute. It was Warren Davis getting on the end of Owen Lamb's cross to make it 2-1. But Cork, who got a draw against Shamrock Rovers coming from behind the other night, thought they'd done it again and rescued a point in the 85th minute. It was that man, Daniels, again, quickly becoming a bit of a hero. Lee side getting his second goal of the game. But late drama. It wasn't to be for Cork. The home side awarded a penalty. Treacy clattering Thomas Alua. Bit of shenanigans. A few minutes later, the kick is taken. Ryan Brennan converting the penalty in the 96th minute to give Drogheda all 3 points at Sullivan and Lamb Park, and send the home fans into bank holiday bedlam and back to the top of the table at that point. Next to Eamon DC Park, Galway United and Bohemians were both coming off Friday night's defeats, and it was Galway who took the lead in the 43rd minute, and it was who else but Moses Dyer with the goal. 8 goals now for him so far in this campaign, top scorer in the country. But just before the hour mark, Bohs were level. Sean Grehan, the hero against Pats a few weeks ago, rising highest to get on the end of Dale Rooney's cross to make it 1-1. And would you believe it, look at that clock, 97th minute, it was Rooney and Grehan again to give the visitors all 3 points. Bohs and late winners, it's becoming a theme this season, and those kind of scenes are becoming a theme from the Bohs fans. They have celebrated incredible late results in recent weeks. Galway 1, Bohemians 2 there. The champions then, Shelbourne, they were at home to Waterford, looking to end a 4-match winless run. And that run will continue because Waterford star man Padraig Almond grabbed the only goal of the game in the 3rd minute to give his side their 3rd win in a row there. Damien, Duff's men now without a win in 5. Really bad goal for Shells to concede there for Conor Kearns. Tala then, the later game, Shamrock Rovers, they were also looking to end a 4-game winless streak against bottom of the table Sligo. The home side awarded a penalty in the 25th minute when Conor Reynolds judged to have handled the ball in the box. Graham Burke stepped up to the spot and sent goalkeeper Sam Sargent the wrong way. 1-0 to Shamrock Rovers. Burke then turned provider for the hosts a second with a lovely chip for Aaron Green to volley it home and double their lead, 100th league goal for Green. And 2-0 was the final score in Tala. So confirmation of all tonight's results. It's been a hell of a May bank holiday weekend in the League of Ireland Premier Division. Drogheda United, dramatic winners at home to Cork. Bohemians, dramatic winners away to Galway. Shells lose again at home to Waterford. Crucial win for Shamrock Rovers, putting them second, and a big win for Derry City, as we will see. That has Derry up to 3rd in the table. They are just a point off the leaders, Drogheda United, who are still setting the pace. 14 matches in, a dream start to the season for them. Pats down in 4th, and look where the champions are, Shelbourne down in 7th. Let's get back to tonight's game though, and we can hear from Derry City manager Tiernan Lynch. He's standing by with Stuart McAvoy.
Tiernan, another big result. How much did you enjoy that?
Yeah, delighted. As I said, the players afterwards, I couldn't be more proud of them. They worked their socks off. Big game on Friday night that was heavy on us. Boys covered a lot of ground, and we obviously made a couple of changes tonight, but there was still 7 or 8 players out there that played Friday night, and to go again the way they did was absolutely superb. As I say, I thought they were excellent.
What pleased you most about that performance?
As we keep saying, the whole thing, what we're trying to create here is
it has to mean something to pull that Derry shirt over your head. And I think all you do is listen to the crowd tonight, and when they watch players give 100%, and every one of those players give 100% to a man, even the changes tonight, they ran themselves into the ground, and that's the bare minimum we can expect. I think there's a load of quality in this team, which is still, I think they'll get better and better as they go along. But as I say, the bare minimum is run yourself into the ground.
You made changes tonight, as you said, and those boys stood up. Is that what it's going to be about, depth, if you're going to be there October, November time?
Again, all we do is think about the next game. I'll let people like yourself do all the talking about October and November or whatever it is. Our big thing is just now recover and concentrate on Cork on Friday night.
Another win here at home. You trying to build this place a bit of a fortress, a difficult place to come?
Well, it should be. It's a unbelievable crowd, and when they get behind the team, they probably don't realise the difference that they make, and they're without doubt our 12th man. And I think you just seen that tonight. They dragged us through that game, and great credit to Pats. They put us under a fair bit of pressure at the end, and we had the roller sleeves up and dig tight, and I thought we'd done that.
And lastly, how much are you enjoying your venture here? How much more are you looking to see from your team, the more as you coach?
Yeah, I'm loving every minute of it. As I said, they're an unbelievable bunch of boys. They work really hard, they're honest, and I think there's so much growth in them still.
He's not getting involved in putting Derry City into the title race. Keith Treacy, are you?
I'm still unconvinced, Tommy. There's just something about Derry. I highlight the lack of pace in the front line. I know they have Michael Duffy that can run in behind. I don't think they have an awful lot of others. I don't think they have an awful lot of pace in the back line. I don't want to take the shine off them over the last 2 games. They've been really, really good. But I think over the course of a season, he spoke about the home form in the Brandywell. I think it works against them at times as well, because when a so-called lower team comes to the Brandywell and they want to defend and be nice and compact, and all the initiative is on Derry to break them down, I think that's when Derry struggle. When Pats come and the initiative is on Pats to go and break Derry down, I think Derry will be okay. But generally, I think the Brandywell works against Derry just as much as it works with them.
Agree with that, Ian?
To an extent, I do like Derry's squad makeup. I think they will add. They've got the resource certainly to add in the summer, but they've got players coming back from injuries that were on the bench tonight. They've players that have been out unavailable tonight that are coming back. I think they've got a really, really strong squad, and that's been built over the last number of years. I think they're going to be thereabouts. You look at everyone. You look at the form in the league as a whole. It's all over the place. I think they have enough quality, enough experience in their squad to be able to grind results out. And I don't think you can say that about Pats or a couple of other sides in terms of really the nitty-gritty of it. They've scored 5-headed goals. Derry, so they can mix their game up. I think they should be. They've invested enough to be there at the end of the season.
Well, this a brilliant weekend for Derry started with a win over Shelbourne on Friday night. Let's just touch on Shelbourne, who lost earlier on today. You saw that really poor goal they conceded in 1-0 defeat, 5 games without a win for them. But the narrative's kind of moved on a bit for that because, Keith, I think we have our first official League of Ireland beef, maybe since the glory days of, you know, Roddy and Pat Dolan, etc., because Stephen Bradley had a go at Damien Duff in his programme notes before the Shamrock Rovers game about Damien not shaking his hand after the recent league game. Said it was really poor, lack of respect from Duffer on that front. And then after the defeat this evening, no doubt Duff probably wasn't in the best of form anyway. Duff has had to go right back at Stephen before Stephen Bradley. He said, I think since Stephen got invited down to the Dáil, he seems to think he can comment on everything at the minute. I didn't shake his hand after the game. I didn't shake any of the staff's hands because I didn't think they deserved it. Boom. Shots fired.
That's brilliant, isn't it? Look, it's very rare we get a non-eventful game, but when we do, Damien Duff just gives you that little bit of goal dust that you need.
We weren't even covering
but Damien Duff, we end up talking about him because no matter what, he ends up giving you a little something to talk about, and he's goal dust. And look, even my missus is not the biggest fan of the League of Ireland, but she talks about Damien Duff and what he's doing with Shelbourne. So I think he's getting more eyes on the League of Ireland, and the Bradley Duff beef, as we call it, I think will get more and more eyes, and that's what we want in the league.
Do you get caught up in that, Ian, or do you just look at results? Do you think this is a real, like, is it pantomime stuff, or are the two lads kind of getting at each other a bit?
There'll be a little bit in it, but I certainly don't think either one of them is going to back down from this. They've followed up on it for a number of weeks now, and they're coming after each other in their own programme notes and then in post-match interviews that has nothing to do with the other team. So Look,
because they just seem to have a lot of respect for each other. Apparently, it came from originally started that Damien Duff said that Kerr McInroy was the best player in the league in his view, and Bradley said sometimes Damien can get a bit carried away with his comments, a little bit emotional. It's clear Damien felt he's been patronised a bit by Stephen Bradley. So.
Yeah, look, they're going to keep nipping at each other, but look,
it's glorious.
The thing about Chelsea is they haven't won in 5 games.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you're saying after the game. You've got to brush all that aside. You've got to get your team back because they've got the quality. They're another team that I can think can grind teams down.
What's the issue there, do you think?
They're just not. They're not scoring enough goals and they're conceding at the other end. It's very, very simple.
Yeah.
If you look at their possession, I think they 62 or 63% possession against Derry, and they lost the game 2-0. They've done that in numerous games where they're controlling the ball. They're getting a lot of passes in. They're moving it. They're just conceding silly goals. Like you look at the goal tonight, Conor Cairns will be kicking himself. That should be meat and drink for him, catching that, and they get up the other end of the pitch. But they're conceding silly goals now, and that's going to keep on rippling until they shore themselves up and get back, because that's what Damien built this Shell side on. Really strong defensively, don't give up goals. Now
He's enough of his play sorting that stuff out without getting into any more rows with other managers, you'd imagine. We'll have to leave it there, folks. There's plenty more of them though before the end of the season. Thanks to Keith and Ian. A dramatic day as usual in the SSE or Treacy Premier Division. Shells shocked by Waterford. Bows left it late again. Rovers beat Rovers. 3 points for Derry, but at the end it's Drogheda who are top drugs again. Bye for now.